Curtis, D.I. Wire.
DI Wires, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm joined here with a special guest. IDK is in the building. We've been teasing this and having conversations about this happening for a few weeks now, but the timing couldn't be more perfect. First and foremost, how you doing, sir?
I'm well, man. I'm overjoyed with the reception I've been getting for the work I've been putting in. So that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, it looked like you've had a full plate.
Yeah, I would say that for sure. Still have a full plate. Like I got a
Yeah.
lot going on still. So yeah.
Well, let me get to this proper introduction. Today's guest is IDK, an artist who's lived on both sides of the system, signed independent inside the industry and outside of it. His new mixtape, Even the Devil Smiles, feels like a reflection heavy chapter. Sonically adventurous, intentional, and not chasing anything except clarity. The conversation today will be about music, about ownership, freedom, and how perspective changes when you stop outsourcing your power. I want to start here with you, man. Listening to even the devil smiles, it feels like a very self-aware chapter right now in life and in your music career. For people who may only know the music, who is IDK for real behind the music?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I'm definitely one of the most, if not the most confusing rapper on the planet. I think there's so many things that contradict themselves within my upbringing and who I am. Let's set the record straight. One of the things people are like, "Yo, are you from London? Are you from the DMV?" I was born in London.
Mhm.
I came to the DMV when I was 2 years old. That's why I have no accent, and I grew up in PG County, Maryland, specifically in the Bowie, Glendale area. And if you know anything about PG, if you don't go to like a private school or nothing, it don't matter where you live at, you going to a school where, it could get active. And that's what was my situation. I kind of went to a school and I was around certain people and ended up doing certain things, and that's how I ended up being incarcerated. And from that, I started making music or rapping specifically out of that. So that's like a quick thing. Oh, my
Yeah.
parents are from Sierra Leone and Ghana, so
I,
it's like that's where
I
that
ain't
happened.
gonna hold I ain't gonna hold you. I hate the way average day citizens have adapted gangbang culture and want to know where you're from and what's your origin story and what's in your bloodline. I understand that people are very protective of culture and whatnot, but you listen to your music. We know that you hold that in very high light. But uh yeah, just that was a thought that came to mind right now because I'm like, it's crazy how you got to kind of explain what is this part of your life represented?
Yeah,
Why is this?
yeah. It's a thing that I've come across having to make sure it's clear, because when you put your art out there and then there's no clarity on where it comes from, I think you lose a significant part of why it's important. So I like to make sure, I feel like it's almost my job to some extent to allow the people who really care about what I do to have a certain level of understanding.
Well, let's talk about what it is that you do. Before rap became a career, it sounded like, as I kind of go through these interviews, I saw you did one recently with my guy, Open Mike Eagle. It sounded like
Mhm.
survive. It sounded like before music became a career, it sounded like it was survival first. What did rap give you that you weren't getting anywhere else at that time in your life?
So, I mean, I use the word survival lightly because, for me, there's certain things that was happening that it was less based off of survival and more based off of feeling like I had some sort of purpose. And
Mhm.
I think music filled that void in a lot of ways, because I went to like, bro, I was playing football and shit in middle school, and it was like, yeah, that's cool, like, but like I was always good athletically, but then when it was time to put that equipment on, and I was like playing with people who've been doing it since they learned how to walk, it was a whole
Yeah.
nother thing. So I was like, damn, maybe I'm not as good at. I was nice when it came to like, we just outside playing for. I was the best.
Right.
But when it
Right.
was time to put that equipment on, it crushed my dreams of potentially doing that. And I think when I started really focusing on art, that was the time when I got the most praise. And once I started doing that, I put my all into that. Then it became like a kind of like a fashion thing, and I was always like the best dressed and shit. And then that turned into, okay, but to keep that up, you gotta get this money. And then that turned into me trying to figure out how to get this money. And then, whatever, the rest
I,
of the story from
I
there.
will say that pipeline story of damn near star athlete to now star rapper is undefeated. Like it's so many of them storylines. I look, it's always interesting to me that there's so many principles I feel like you learn because I did little league. So many principles you learn, and especially when you had a really good coach that they
Mhm.
instill these things in you. At the time, you think it's just him telling you things about how to be a better football player, baseball player, basketball player, but they're really life lessons as you kind of
Yeah,
move forward. Right.
no, you got it right. And so me, I just, I got in where I fit in, and that's what led me to kind of where I'm at today.
Yeah. But before these, very deep and conceptual albums and the curation, what do you remember about your very first song? Not the polished one, the honest one.
Nah, that shit was it was about North Face jackets. Like where I was from, people were, some people were getting killed for those jackets, robbed, all that stuff. And
Right.
I remember wanting a North Face jacket so bad. And I actually realized the power of manifestation through writing, because I wrote a song about North Faces and
Mhm.
how much I like my North Face that I didn't even have. And I remember going to I knew the beat in my head, like I did it on the desk, and then I taught somebody how to do the beat. Then I rapped over that beat, and
Mhm.
then it became a lunch table hit. I was like
Yeah.
everybody be like, "Oh, spit that shit!" Like that was like middle school and shit. So that was like my first encounter with loving rap and songs. My first time loving rhyming was sixth grade. My teacher gave us a bunch of words, and everybody had to make the words into sentences, but they all rhymed. And I
Mhm.
remember when it was time to present mine, the whole class was laughing because it was so clever. And I was like, "Damn, I kind of got something."
Mhm.
That's like the earliest stages of that.
Yeah. 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 At this point in your career, what part of your story do you feel people still misunderstand or even oversimplify?
I think people think like they're like, oh man, his networking is so good and his marketing is so good, and it's like marketing and branding. I mean, I know who I am. I wrote that down. Like branding is who you are. Anytime I put a project together, I write down what story I want to tell visually, and then I stick to that, and I get better and better as time progresses. Right? Marketing is just me. I just pay attention to my fans, and I talk to them, and I listen to them, and I'm in the Discord, so I know what they like, and then I find out what part of me and who I am can be presented in a way that they would also appreciate as well. And I put that thought, I'm just thoughtful. That's really it. And I think that intentional and thoughtful. And I think that people are like, yo, his marketing, his networking is like people, often talk about my features, how I'm able to
Mhm.
get them. And I've seen people say like, man, he just got so much money behind him and da 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 da. Bro, niggas just fuck with me, bro. Like what?
Well, they
I
like I as an artist understand how these circumstances happen sometimes just by proximity, by what studios you go to, by the type of person you are. There's been times I've been in a room with producers that are 10 times better than me, but because I'm the
Mhm.
fastest one to get them stems at a
Yeah,
moment's notice, they're like,
yeah.
he gonna be less of a headache to deal with though. Like these are sometimes the conversations that happen.
Nah, and dude, like literally, shout out to Ty Dolla Sign just brought me on yesterday for his live stream, and I'm like, damn, man, it's like mad people and shit. It's like, wow,
Mhm.
everybody's there, all the artists are there. I'm like, yo, you performing tonight? And they're like, nah. I'm like, oh shit, he got me doing this shit. I'm the
Yeah.
last one. Then he
Yeah.
does Carnival right after me, like. So
Wow.
anyway, and then he gives me this amazing intro about like this is one of the greatest artists in the world. That's what he said about me. So in my mind, I'm like, damn, that's amazing. And you know what? I think that the artist community understands what I do more than maybe the fans because they know they do it too, and they know
Yeah.
how hard it is to do what I do. So from the artist standpoint, they looking at me like at a certain regard, and the fans don't understand the intricacies of what goes on and what I do.
Mhm.
So they're like, they're like, why is this, how is he getting these people? And it's like, nah, bro, like people fuck with a nigga, man. Like,
Mhm.
I DM niggas and just be like, yo, what's up? And then most of the time people are heard of me, and
The thing fans got to realize too is that it's niggas out here with budgets that still
yeah,
can't get features.
yeah, no. Like, you can't just get on a whack nigga joint, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, I think Push is coming out of
Incredible.
album, bro. I think like he can't misstep right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. Can't do
he,
nothing that all that momentum that was built from that crazy, the crazy rollout of what they have for the Clips album. The last thing he finna do is do some favors. That's gonna make me like, you got that kind of like you got access to him. He know what he doing. That's why when I listen to the record that y'all did, we're gonna talk about that eventually. But the record that from my standpoint, I listen and I say, this is a level of mastery meeting another level of mastery.
Mhm.
So that's why it makes sense on paper, sonically, wherever you want to talk about it.
Yeah, bro. I remember the first time I spoke to Push, he followed me on Instagram, and I'm like, oh shit, this nigga Pusha-T followed me. This is like 2018, and then
Right.
I had did this song with me and Russ and Joey Badass, and literally he hits me and he's like, we're talking on the phone because this time I'm talking about like good music. We talking about doing a deal with good music, which I eventually got offered a deal from. And he's like, man, I ain't gonna lie, I caught this off the like 1, 2 in the morning. Like them bars was crazy. Like,
Yeah.
when I finally reached out to him the first time, because this is my second collab with him. The first time I was on it was for Is He Real? And I just said, like, yo, man, I got this record. I want to get you on it. I hit Tyler about it. You know what I'm saying? I want to try to see what's up. He's like, I got you. Bro, one thing about him, if he say I got you,
Mhm.
bro. Every time he said I got you, that verse came. Even if it was 2, 3, 4 months later, that verse came.
Yeah.
And with this recent one, he was like, I got you. That one took a little time. And then he called me randomly and he was like, yo. I'm like, what's good, bro? He's like, you still need that? I'm like, yeah. And then
Nah, I'm good. I'm good.
he's
Actually,
like,
you can keep that. I got plans now. Hell yeah, I still want that verse.
he's like, all right, cool, I got you. Like I say an hour, within an hour, I get a
Yeah.
text of the lyrics. And I'm like, oh shit.
Mm,
And then he's
mm.
like, what's your email? You know, when you get that, you an artist, and the nigga say,
Yeah,
what's your
yeah.
email?
That's
You know
signed,
what
sealed,
I'm saying?
delivered. What's that
Same
email?
shit.
Say less.
Similar thing happened with Doom. It's like, what's the concept of the song? Like, I remember I reached out through Adult Swim, and because I was doing a project with them, and they were like, look, man, he doesn't really do a lot, and sometimes he doesn't even respond, but I'll try.
Mhm.
Man, when I tell you, like, I'm like, bet. 3 weeks go by, 4 weeks go by. I get an email. Man, it seems like we're making some progress. Doom wants to know the concept of the song. I said, piece of shot, da da da. So I wrote the concept.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, touchdown. No, 2 weeks later, email. Shit comes through. The MF Doom vocals. I'm like, oh
Come on.
shit! I can't believe this shit, nigga. Like, it's really happening. And I
Yeah.
think that gave me the confidence to start hitting niggas like, yo, I same thing, Jay Electronica. I hit this nigga. I'm like, how do I get to Jay Electronica? I'm just trying to think of who I know that might know him. Some person tells me to hit this person. I'm like, oh shit, I know. Okay, Law. Okay, cool. I hit Law. I'm like, he's like, I don't know if he has a phone right now. Let me figure it out.
Mhm.
This nigga DMs me. I got a DM. Nigga just DMs me out of nowhere. Yo, I love what you're doing, bro. I respect your taste. You have really
Mhm.
good taste. He's like, I
Mm.
got niggas. So now we had Jay Electronica, right?
Yeah.
This one's the funniest because it's like for every week for 7 months straight, he hit me and he was like, I got you. I got you. I got
Mhm.
you. And then Doom had passed away and Doom was on the song at that time. And he hits me and he goes, uh, now I gotta make sure this happens.
Mm.
Don't
Yeah.
worry, I
Yeah.
get
It's a different weight now. Right.
a week later he DM me and says touchdown. What's your email?
Here we go. Hold on. Hit the button. Here you go. What's your email? Don't them the words you want to hear when it's
Right.
good. My boy. Check
Yeah.
your email. Check my email. That might as well be an alert from your bank that say a
Yeah,
new
like,
deposit has appeared, right? Say this personal tidbit, bro. It is incredible to see the rise that you've had with your career, because I don't know if you remember way back, maybe like the early 2010s. Shout out to my homegirl Sparkle Lynn, who used to work at Hip Hop
Sparkle.
DX.
Oh, man,
Sparkle
Sparkle.
Lynn connected you and I. We spoke on the phone before. You probably remember this. We spoke on the phone, and she was trying to connect us, I think, on some production to some work that you had going on. Things
Mhm.
didn't work for whatever reason, but it has been incredible because that was my introduction to you.
Yeah.
Because I was like,
Yeah.
okay, let me do my research, let me see the music, and just seeing the way the music has evolved, seeing these relationships that you're speaking so casually about. To me, it is a testament to your hard work. It's a testament to your creative process. I want to talk about that. I got some creative process questions for you. The new mixtape, Even the Devil Smiles, to me is a rich variety of sonics with unexpected transitions. Because, like you said, the artists and the producers are watching and we're paying attention to all that shit. When you
Yeah.
sit down to create, what usually comes first for you? Is it the concept, the beats, or the bars?
It depends on where I'm at. If I go into the studio knowing that I'm in project mode, I have my I put in my subconscious a certain story that I want to tell. And this one, I definitely was like, I'm mad at the music industry right now. I don't like these niggas, man. These niggas really be out here like trying to spin me, like trying to play with me. And then I started remembering being locked up and then being like in situations where it's like, yo, no one would ever do that. Like no one does that. And then because it could lead to something really dangerous. You got to do what you say and you got to be who you are. And I'm so about that. Like if I don't respond to something, I genuinely didn't see that shit. I don't see a nigga shit and be like, man, I'm not gonna respond to this. I don't do that shit. And niggas
It don't
do
sit
that.
right in your soul.
Yeah, bro. I don't sleep well
Stay on
like
your
that.
chest. I get it.
It ain't nobody I'm scared of to the point where I feel like I gotta avoid them, bro. I go head on with whatever. If I don't want to do something, if I don't like something, I just
Mhm.
say that. Or if it's not for me, or whatever the case may be. And if I don't respond, it's because I'm genuinely busy. And some people just don't live by those principles. So in the process of being independent, it's like it's one thing when you're on a label, right? But when you're independent and that time really matters, and dollars really matter, they really hit
Mhm.
your pockets, bro. That's when you start feeling that shit, and then you just like, hold on, bro. Like I can't do that with you. That can't
Yeah.
happen, bro. Like before, maybe like right now, you said you was going to do this. We got to get it done. Or we got to figure it out. And so it was like frustration in that. And I think the beats I was picking and shit was coming from, all of that. And then I started just channeling that anger or that frustration into lyrics as almost like a reminder, like, when I come in on that record, on that project with Halo, the song Halo,
Mhm.
my first line in that song is if I was it's YouTube, so I don't want to say, if I was I
You
would
can
put,
say whatever you want. This Curtis
okay,
King TV. We don't care about none
okay,
of
all
that.
right, cool. You know how they be saying, all
We
this
don't care
other
about none of that shit. Go ahead and say what you got to say.
if I was a killer, I would be like Luigi. And it's like,
Mhm.
that's my first line. That's like how I was feeling at that time. Like, I'm like, I don't really like everybody fuck with you and everybody needy. Um, how the fuck we supposed to coexist when everyone greedy? It's
Mm.
like, that's why I move by myself. I don't need no one help. People don't realize if you ever work with me, I really be doing a lot of shit by myself. Like, I don't really be like, people be like, yo, he has this crazy team and this crazy, and I do have good people around me. Don't get it twisted, but they'll tell you, they know. They wouldn't lie to you, bro. They know what I be on. Like, I just do what I gotta do because at the end of the day, that's where survival is for me. I
Yeah.
I do this. I work very hard to do this. Like, I've been doing it, bro. Time you talking to me, Sparkle days, I was freestyling for whoever, whenever. Like, I was on the streets. Like, I went to South by Southwest. No money. My mom paid for this ticket for me. I went to South by Southwest,
Wow.
no shows, one show, and it had like three people in it. I went in the middle of the street and did a DJ booth freestyle, and that was the highlight of my whole trip there. I
Come
was
on.
that dude. So
Shout out to
nobody
Brian
can
Z one
ever
time.
say, yeah. So nobody, if you really ever try to be like, oh, people say, not me, I don't see this often, but some people might say someone is an industry plan or whatever. It's like, bro, if you look
Got
at my
no
track
idea.
record, I did the thing.
Come on.
I was
And you got
there.
and you can't do that in this era because I always say, just like Shock G talked about digital underground, we're living in the digital underground. All that shit you talked about you doing, somebody got a flip camera, somebody got a
Mhm.
flip phone, somebody got to flip
Yeah,
something to show, oh
yeah.
no, IDK was really out here. I seen him when he did the DJ booth freestyle. Here it go right here. And it may not
Mhm,
be 4K, but it might be 480p. It
mhm,
happened.
mhm,
Something you said that resonated with me. I remember it was similar to advice I got from one of my OGs, Murs. Murs told me early in my independent career, he said, one day you're going to figure out, especially as an independent artist, your decisions are divided between hell yeses and hell nos. There is no gray area.
mhm.
And I see
Mm.
now what he means and that my money's involved.
Yeah.
Ain't no, let's come back to it in a week. No, it's hell yes or it's a hell no. Uh, I love to ask this philosophical question of lyricists like yourself because something I
Mhm,
noticed about the way that you write, I love that in the middle of a record, it seems like you're discovering things mid-verse. Do
mhm.
you write to understand yourself or do you understand yourself first and then write?
No, I think it's a mixture. I think I understand maybe certain aspects of myself. And then when I start writing, I realize, oh shit. I talk about women in a certain way on a lot of my records because of I realize that on like misogynistical song I got on Even the Devil Smiles, where I'm like, oh snap, I'm like this because of this. And guess what? I then come to the realization that I don't need to be that way. I think I've gotten it off my chest now.
Yeah,
And now moving forward, my lyrics could be a little different as it pertains to women. Let's try a different angle now. I
yeah,
think I mean that's a real realization I came to. And I think I understand myself more. I think I understand certain aspects of myself, and maybe I do, but not everything. So that's what I write for.
yeah. I think marriage had the same effect on my writing too, to where
Mm,
not that I didn't respect my exes, but I have a different type of respect for, first of all, the woman of my first child, and
mm,
just being in a marriage and understanding like, oh, this ain't no high school relationship shit. Like you have to really compromise and sacrifice, and it just gives you a different appreciation of women in general. But interesting points, interesting point. I wonder, looking back at your catalog, even looking back at this mixtape, what's a creative risk that you took that you proud of, even if it didn't land, I guess, commercially per se?
mm. Creative risk. I think everything I do, I just, especially now, I feel the most fulfilled when I take creative risks. I think a creative risk was Clover. On the song Clover, I just decided to switch the beat up on
Mhm.
the chorus and just sing and put auto tune on it, and I like that. It's my idea of modernization. It's my idea of when I was listening to the Gorillas, and Damon Albarn and what he would do with hip hop and how their music is so timeless. And then it's like that melodic element is a element that I think a lot of women that listen to my music kind of lean into, and it's this back and forth with honestly love, and then the misogynistic type of conversation that lives within rap,
Mhm.
to be cool. So it's like they on my dick, but then it's like I just want to fall in love. That's the
Mhm.
real me. That's the
Mhm.
subconscious.
Mhm.
But then I'm like, they on my dick, like you know what I'm saying? It's a fight, and creatively, because I saw like I didn't know this many like older people use TikTok, but when the song blew up on TikTok, a lot of people, there was a wave of like 40, like 50-year-old,
Hey,
55.
hey, relax. Did you say that's older? I'm 41. I
No,
turned 41. Hey,
I'm gonna
relax.
say, no, I
Hey,
gotta say,
hey,
I gotta
relax. IDK, you gotta relax.
okay, my bad.
The
Sorry,
first thing he
6.
said was 40. I said, "Oh, that's
Yeah.
crazy." I'm playing. I'm playing. Go
No,
ahead.
no, no. But no, but like literally though, like people that I wouldn't think use TikTok. How about that,
Right,
right?
right, 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 right.
And engage. And they were like, man, this song was reminding me of the 1991. It was so good until he got to the chorus. And it
Mm.
auto-tune bullshit. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I understand that, but I'm not that's not I wasn't trying to make a 1991.
Yeah,
I was trying to fuse what the old with the new. So that's a creative risk. Obviously, the song has 20 million streams now. It's
yeah.
doing well. We're gonna keep pushing it. People seem to love it. But that is what I mean. Like, that's the part of me that's like, if I kept it 91, I'm not doing nothing exciting. But if I
Mm.
but then go tomorrow, whatever tomorrow is, 2020 fucking 10, I mean 2028, whatever, that to me, for me, is what I see,
Yeah.
as creative risk that I'm proud of. And I'm gonna continue to do that. I'm gonna continue to probably make people mad
You
with
should.
rap.
That's that to me, that's the artist's job, is that you're not making the music that that person had in mind, because if they had it in mind, they should be making music. You're
Yeah.
making the music for IDK, and this has to be full of whatever contradictions exist in you. It should be full of whatever, like, hey, we should do this on this part. Because
Mhm.
nobody else is literally gonna have that line of decision making. So I'm always gonna be an advocate of that, especially as an artist myself. I'm gonna always be an advocate of that, because to me, that's how the genius shit happens. I think a lot of what you were talking about earlier with artists who have got it wrong is them adjusting their entire musical presentation based upon what playlisters tell them to do. What
Really?
you know what I'm saying? Like, with play you got playlisters who are like, "Yo, I'll put you on this playlist, but your songs need to be shorter. You should take that bridge out." And this is people who don't necessarily ever have a history of making music.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I agree that a producer brings psycho. I think a true producer doesn't make beats.
Mhm.
You can be a beat maker and a producer, but you can also just be a beat maker. Just because you make beats don't mean you're a producer. That's my
Sure,
personal opinion.
sure. And that's real.
Producers bring psychology to the music in order to turn it into a product. A product. That's what it is. That's what a producer
Mhm.
does. Someone who makes the beats or a programmer makes the beats. But a producer can tell you that. Rick Rubin can come in and say, yeah, I mean, Yeezus is cool, but you gotta like chop down the hooks. It's just an eight
Mhm.
minute song is not. Try this to make the product and the art better.
Yes.
That's what a
Yes.
producer does. A person who programs could be a producer, most likely is not a professional producer. They just program what's being given. Their job is to program the best of the best, but their job is not to tell you what they think should happen, because a producer would, Quincy Jones is going to be the one that knows what makes sense to the psychology of the people if he's in touch and he's been doing it long enough, and he knows what strings to pull musically to make that happen. No pun intended. So I don't know. I think
Wait, to be clear, you know I said playlister, right? Talking about the people who make playlists on streaming.
playlists on streaming, like you're talking
Yeah.
about, like Spotify playlists, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I was making sure you didn't think I said producer, because I was like, no, no,
No,
producer
no,
got
no.
every right to have every decision they got in there. Yeah.
No, no, no. So what I'm saying is the programmers who make the playlists aren't the ones that say cut the
Facts.
song down to
Okay.
3. That's not. First of all, a 3 minute and 30-second song. The reason why that made sense is because of one, radio format, and then two, jukeboxes. That's why
Mm.
a single was supposed to be 3 minutes and 30 seconds because of that. There's so much of the business model of music that we be using that's based off of physical shit. When the Beatles made, they say the Beatles is responsible for the first like album as a concept of an album. Obviously, the Beach Boys did the first collection of music, but like the Beatles are the ones who took it and said this is like a creative idea. And
Yeah,
then
they innovated multi-tracking to the point where they couldn't even perform all the instruments live that they put.
right. No, fact. So I'm saying, like, in my mind, when I look at all of this stuff, it's like we be doing so much based off of the old methods, based off of physical distribution. Even the concept of the album being X amount of songs, and if you look at certain contracts and shit, and what it says based off of your royalties, et cetera, et cetera. It's all based off of that shit. So to me,
Mhm.
like I I I trust my producer, which is someone inside of myself. I
Mhm.
have friends and people that I trust musically that also add to that. And then I'm more of a producer than I am a rapper. And I think that's why people get the product they get from me. And and maybe they'll be like, oh, this is a mixtape, but it sounds like an album. It's just because
Mhm.
I be producing this shit. I be adding the little things and I be taking stuff out. I'll
Right.
take a Mad Lib beat and just I change the drums and now it's IDK Mad Lib and it's a different style,
Mhm.
or maybe I like the sample that was used, but let me IDK it a little bit and see what happens.
I think that's why a lot of producers make such great rappers. And it's a theory of mine, in that because of the meticulous nature of choosing the right kick, choosing the right snare, uh,
Mhm.
thinking of the arrangement from a zoomed out point of view of how does this journey land for the listener. I think that those are zoomed out point of views that sometimes somebody who's only writing may not necessarily have to do that to accomplish 16 bars, to accomplish an 8 bar chorus. There's a more like zoomed out point of view that I think exists with those who actually produce. So, but you said something that got me really thinking. You've experienced being signed, and now you're fully operating independent. What's
Mhm.
actually better? 'Cause I'm gonna do the inverse, but what's actually better about being signed, and what's worse?
Man, it depends on really you as an artist, man. I put it like this: not being signed, you better be a hell of a CEO in every sense of the word, not just CEO of this brand. And like, how people put that
Right.
in it. Like, you got to do the work, like the real CEO, or you got to be on that. You got to pay attention. You got to be able to build a team. You got to be able to manage a team. You got to be able to motivate your team. You got to make sure you boosting the morale of everybody around you, so we all feel like we are ready to get this win. You got to see when shit ain't right. You got to know how to make adjustments. You got to manage money a certain way. It's a lot to do. If you can do that, cool. I don't smoke weed or nothing. I don't even drink now. Like, so for me, I can do certain things because I don't have other things that distract or cloud my mind. That's
Mhm.
my personal opinion. But everybody can't do that. So let's start there. You may need a label to run your stuff because if they're good, because sometimes they just don't do it anyway.
Right.
Um, and then also the biggest factor is money. That's the realest thing. Like if you want a major label, there's essentially an unlimited marketing budget, kinda. And if you don't got that, like if you show the numbers to justify the money, they're gonna keep spending the money until it don't
Mhm.
make sense no more.
Hmm.
But on a as an independent, especially with an independent label, the biggest difference is you usually own the music, right? So everything, if you do get an advance from an independent label, it's like it's a hard advance. Like everything is usually sometimes treated as an advance. And then there's a limit to how much money that could be spent, right? Depending on the label. So I think the biggest thing though in this day and age is I've created a baseline of I'm always gonna have certain fans that mess with my music and somebody's gonna listen, right? Definitely. So me being independent in this time is really valuable for me. But if you just brand new coming out the gate and you can't really do much, it's like you might need, if that's how you got to get the money to even get there, that
Yeah.
might be the move you got to make. That's I can't knock nobody for doing no deals, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not one of them anti-label people. I actually love Warner Records when I was with them. In terms of the love they showed me, they really wanted me to win, all of that stuff. Now, they may not have had the infrastructure for the kind of shit that I did. Earl Sweatshirt was signed there at the same time as me too. It was like, I don't know if he still is, but it was like hard for them to really move a certain way with with us.
Mhm.
And I respect everything they did to try to figure it out. But it was just better when I just went on my own. I figured it out on my own. And yeah, it's expensive. Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, sometimes you putting in a lot of work and you feel like you may not be getting nothing back. But when it does hit, it hits and you feel it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, what I love about what you said about separating the responsibility of being independent. In any of the content that I do, I always try to make sure it's a clear separation between an up and coming artist and an independent artist. What do you think artists romanticize about major labels that they really shouldn't? I think you got some unique perspective.
I think they judge shit based off of the artists that used to be on there. So when you think about but think about like Motown. If I'm not mistaken, NBA YoungBoy signed to Motown, right? So if think it's like Temptations than NBA YoungBoy, or I don't know if I know Dolce's on Capitol. I don't know if it's Motown, but it's like Temptations to maybe like Leon Thomas. That makes sense. That's in line. But
Mhm.
Temptations maybe NBA YoungBoy is a little, juxtaposed. So it's like people be looking at the artist and be like, "Oh, Def Jam, man." I think DMX was signed to Def Jam and this and that.
Mhm.
Man, that was then, bro. Like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? There was a
Somebody
lot
got
of
to
people
pay.
in Def
Somebody got to
Jam.
pay bills today.
Right. So I think we romanticize, Interscope to me has the best brand out of any major label, period, because of the stuff they did from 9 Inch Nails all the way down to like obviously Eminem and Dr. Dre and the Chronic
Mhm.
and Jimmy Iovine and 50 Cent and Kendrick Lamar. They got the best roster of mainstream success that's also respected. So in my mind, I think about shit like that, you know what I mean? Like, and I think people think about that and want to sign. The other thing is the money aspect. You feel like you get a lot of money up front, and sometimes you do, you know what I'm saying? But also, bro, that means that it comes with a certain level of pressure, period. It's a lot on the line when you do that. And I don't mean don't take it, but just understand that like it's not gonna be as sweet as you think it is, if things don't work out. So I think people romanticize the money aspect and possibly the previous roster or the history of the label.
Well, let's talk about that pressure because you don't seem to be somebody who cracks under that pressure. I'm seeing some of these innovative things that you've been doing, especially with this most recent rollout. How dare you not just release music? How dare you come out here and create an experience with a $500 CD player? I ain't never seen, dog. You got to understand, I'm a DIYer, right? That's my brand out here.
DIY.
I'm always looking at innovative things. I'm looking at the not just the QR codes, but like the little CD things that you have where you can load the music up on an app. I'm looking at all these things all the time. When I seen this, I said it was right there in front of our eyes, and nobody even thought to do something the way that you did it. Man, that $500 CD player rollout to me, most innovative thing we've seen early on this year. Walk me through the thinking behind that direct to consumer move.
Bro, I don't be thinking about direct to consumer and all. So that's interesting when it came out and it was like Princes and Planes posted it and all these different blogs. I was like, oh man, that's fire. I didn't realize like that's what that was to that extent, because the way I was looking at it is, man, I love my fans. I love the people that support me. I'm nothing without them. So let me see how I can make sure their experience is the best possible. And I just was like, back to my story in prison, those CD players, all of our electronics were transparent because you could see
Mm,
they don't want you to hide contraband. So I got a transparent PlayStation that I built myself. I got transparent controllers. I got a transparent Rhodes piano that I made. I just love transparency because for me, it's taking back the power, because they did that to take away power, right?
mhm,
Hey, we
mhm,
don't, bruh. It's nothing like being in your cell in the middle of the night and you get that knock, do, 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 do. And then they'll come in and fuck up all your shit, bro. Fuck
mhm,
up to make sure you don't got nothing. And then you gotta go back in there and clean that shit up, bro.
mhm, mhm, mhm,
That's
mhm.
what I had to deal with. So that CD player, it means something to me. Like, I seen it's starting to become a thing. I've seen someone else do it as well, and shout out to him. But this shit for me means something. That's what I dealt with. So
Yeah.
I was like, all right, cool. I want a transparent CD player. Cool. Boom. Then it's like, I'm gonna give fans the CD player, but here I need to give them something priceless so that if they complain about the price, they can't because this is priceless. And I'm
Hmm.
like, "Yo, I got my hard drive. I got a couple joints that maybe I can't clear the sample on, or maybe it's never gonna come out. If I give one person each one of those songs, they get something that they have that nobody else has.
That's
You
crazy.
cannot. It could be worth $10,000. That there's no price for that.
Right.
So now you make a decision. Do you want it or not? I put it out. Shit sold out. Like actually, I had it up for a while.
Hmm.
Nobody bought anything. And then because they didn't understand what it was, as
Hmm.
soon as I told them they get a exclusive song that nobody else has but me and them, that
Hmm.
shit went crazy. And that's what I was trying to explain. It's like I'm not going to charge somebody 500 to charge them 500, dog. You need to get something that's valuable out of that because 500 ain't easy for somebody to spend on your music, bro. It ain't. It's tough times right now. Like people really, really like saying like, yo, I barely could pay my rent. You know what I'm saying? Like, so somebody to come and take $500 and put it on this product, it's my job to make sure they get their money's worth. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's why I went through the trouble of all of that. And then I was giving people free CDs because of the whole mixtape thing. Because I would burn because that's what I used to do. I would just take the CDs, burn them, and then
Hmm.
I'll say, you send me the cover art that you want. I'm gonna put the even the devil smiles shit on it.
Hmm.
I'm gonna put that shit in my house downstairs, nigga. Like I got the shit. And then now I'm giving you your own CD, the bootleg, nigga. I put the
One on
word
one.
in
Don't
it, bro.
nobody else got this.
My
Yeah.
first CD player was bootleg. Get Rich or Die Trying. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna
Yeah.
give you the bootleg version. This is like this shit don't got no metadata, none of that shit. Like
Mhm.
bootleg, and I print it out, and you get it for free. All you gotta do is join my Discord, show love. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever the admins, they're really good. Shout out to them. They just do little things, whatever, and then get everybody engaged. And my gift to you is something that don't cost me a lot of money. It costs me time. It costs me maybe certain like uh, creative energy,
Mhm.
but also because you gotta like line the shit up and make sure it looks cool on a
Mhm.
joint. Um, and some ink. It cost me some ink from
Yeah.
my CD printer.
Mine
That's
are overhead. Mine are overhead compared to what this could be. I didn't see your
yeah.
videos. Mine are overhead.
I love to do that, bro. Like I
Yeah.
love to figure out how to make something priceless for the people that show me love. That's it. So when people say you're marketing and this and that, bro, I don't even be thinking like that, bro.
Yeah.
I don't the word marketing is not in my mind. It's literally how do I give someone a great experience in a world where everybody's just doing the same thing. There's this thing that we got to get rid of. I think rap has it the most, but I think musicians tend to have this, but rap because we so ego and persona based. Like it's this thing of, yeah, I just dropped this new record. Go check it out.
Mhm.
It's like, nigga, what? What? Like,
You
bro,
know what my
why?
life consists of right now? For me to drop
Yeah,
everything to listen to just because it's a new record?
yeah, niggas be talking like it's a privilege to like it can be if the
Right.
fan connects to the music in that way, but what if they don't? You
Mhm.
got to show them why it makes sense to come to you and listen to your stuff and spend a portion of their 24 hours on your music. That's your job. You don't have to sell music, bro. You could just make it for yourself and listen to it if you're just doing it
Wow.
for the love. But the moment you say, "Oh yeah, I want to pay my bills. Oh yeah, I want to flex with this whip. I want to da da da." Well, guess what, bro? You selling the product, and you got to make sure your customers get the best fucking product possible. You
That
put your
part.
energy and your time into that. This ain't no marketing, bro. This is literally me looking at it as if I was on the other side. Why would I do this? And that's it.
If other companies took that mentality, we would never get emails, and I get daily emails from these companies. We wouldn't get emails from Best Buy, from Apple, from
Mhm.
Domino's? What do they understand about the necessity to stay in front of you, to tell their stories, to give you an idea of what goes behind these products? If they are not too good to do that, us as artists are definitely not too good to really help people understand this is what you're investing into. And I think a lot of folks are realizing, okay, for instance, for me, I removed my music from streaming a few years ago, and I just decided to like burn the boats and take over the island of direct to consumer for my business. And
Mhm.
when I did that, when I started to see people show up the way they did, because like you said, they don't have to show up, but they've been invested with the story, they've been engaging with the content. It changed the way that I thought about like my art. I always valued my art, but I was like, no, this audience here is really, really here to see, like they really are invested into the art in a very different way because streaming can be so passive. My last question about that is has selling in this way or even thinking in this way where you have these transparent products and you're thinking about telling these stories, uh does that make you more intentional with your music or more intentional with your work, knowing that you're not just quote unquote feeding an algorithm?
Hell yeah, bro. I gave up on the algorithm, bro. I be posting shit sometimes. I get 1,000 likes, bro. I used to get 50,000 likes on shit. Like I'm just posting pictures. I gave up on that algorithm shit, bro. Like that 1,000 people that did like the shit, that's who I care about. Like I don't know if the algorithm is gonna fuck with me or not. Sometimes it does, sometimes it don't.
Mhm.
Cool. I just care about those people, whoever they are, and then me being authentic to who I actually am. All that like feed the algorithm and bro, you be trying to do that shit and then it just still don't work.
Right.
Nobody knows the secret. I'm playing a game with these. I'm not trying to play no games with Instagram, bro. Like I don't.
Yeah.
I'm playing Russian roulette every time. I'm putting this effort and time in. Okay, what's gonna make the da 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 da? Man, fuck that. I don't do that. I make music, bro. I make music first, and that's why when people say again, that's why the marketing thing is like okay, maybe I think I've done things that lean more towards marketing in the past. This rollout, it was just simply like, yo, let's the mixtapes deserve a certain level of shine because of the innovation that it comes from. It's a
Mhm.
lack of resources. The same it would have been in prison when I got to take a fucking sweater, cut it up, and turn it into shorts because it's summertime. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
DOC jeans. They give you this like blue shirt. You know what I'm saying with DOC on the back, and it's like it's hot. That's innovation. Hip hop music, rap music. They didn't want to widely distribute that shit because it didn't make sense. Like they didn't think it was gonna make no money. So guess what? Niggas was like, all right, bet. I don't got the resources to hire a band and record, but you know what I can do? This particular CD, I mean, this particular record has a break beat. And if I keep looping the break beat, I keep looping the break beat. Now there's a beat. Now there's a band without me having a band.
Mhm.
Now, oh, it's going to go and the MC going to rap over that and boom,
Mhm.
boom, boom. And then you take it even further. All right, let's tell the story of where we from. That's rap. That's innovation. That's prison innovation. That's prison level innovation. You gotta
Yeah.
give props. If you ever go there, not you, but I'm saying anybody who's ever been there. I
Well,
hope you don't go there.
what dates you think work best for me? What you think?
If
Next few
you
months?
ever if you ever talk to anybody in there, it's a lot of geniuses that's
Yeah,
making shit happen out of
a lot of
nowhere from
untapped
everything.
potential.
And so what I say by that is the genius of rap music and the mixtape and why it was invented. And then when later on it evolved into, all right, the labels, bro, we rap, bro. We ain't like 21 Pilots or whatever, we can
Mhm.
make mad music, bro. We just do this all day. But
Yeah.
we can't distribute it fast enough for the way that physical distribution works with a major label. Major labels was pissed that they was giving out all this free music, but they're like, this is how I feed the streets, man. I
Mhm.
gotta get this out there and I gotta get it to people. So the mixtape became the outlet for that. All of this stuff is genius level art.
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, mixtape need to be a Mocha. So we're gonna do the screening at Mocha in one of the most prestigious art museums ever in the world in America, and and that's where it belongs. But it's a mixtape. I don't care, bro. Why? How's it a mixtape? But you got da 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 strings and you doing physical. It's a mixtape
Mhm.
because DJ Who Kid is on that shit.
Hold on, hold on. First of all, hang that name up in the Louvre. Like, first of all, put some respect on that, and it's dope to see. You know, even like with Cole doing the little mixtape right now with Clue, like it's dope to see the DJs get celebrated and that culture be reminded. When Tyler did what he did, right? Like it's dope to see that because I think
AID.
immediately, yeah, right, JID. Immediately when you think of mixtape in the context of some people's conversation, it's almost like they're saying it's a downgrade, but you're reminding people, no, this is where some of the most innovative moments have come from some of our biggest artists. Whether you want to talk about a G Unit 50 Cent, whether you want to talk about Lil Wayne literally rebranded himself through these
Mhm.
mixtape series. Like the greatest, most innovative moments happen when you take nothing and turn it into something. Take an instrumental that people forgot about and said, like I remember the G Unit mixtapes. 50 would literally make a whole new chorus that made me damn near forget about what the original was.
Nah, yeah, and that's what I'm trying to explain to people. Like the mixtape, this being a mixtape versus a album was
Mhm.
a creative decision I made. It wasn't necessarily based off of the resources that I lacked, and that to me, guess what? It was birthed off the resources people lacked, and it became a blueprint of how to put your music out, which then became a thing that artistically people love. When you
Mhm.
hear that tag, when you hear that bomb drop and they reverse, you know what I'm saying? They start the whole joint again. That is
Nostalgia right there. Yeah.
hard. When you hear the DJ's tags just come in, and then I got a song where it starts off with the "Damn son, where'd you find this?" And it's not a trap song. It's
Right.
me and RZA. Like that is a creative decision that I decided to make because I believe that the mixtape needs a different way of looking at it and a different platform. It
Mhm.
shouldn't just be because we got a lack of resources, because now with the digital era, you can do whatever you want, basically.
Facts.
So that's
Facts.
how I look at it.
You brought up Pusha-T earlier, and it's funny. It's funny how God works in that you say, I'm not coming in this with a marketing first mentality. I'm making my art and I'm creating these experiences. Nipsey once said, his goal was to create experiences that you cannot stream, that his fans cannot stream. And I feel like this is something that you're absolutely doing. But it's interesting how you'll put your music out there, you'll put the CD player idea out there. That don't stop the
Mhm,
blogs and such from picking shit up.
mhm.
And I caught wind of the Pusha T verse without getting into any details. I'm not necessarily concerned about that. I'm more so concerned this post 2024 rap battle world.
Mhm,
Fans are treating lyrics like evidence now. You can't
mhm.
get away with saying anything without somebody saying, well, who that's about. How do you personally feel about that shift now that it seems like lyrics are under a different scope nowadays?
The fans are becoming the feds. That's what I'll say. To that. Man, the feds. Got a nice ring to it.
Not the fans
Well,
being the fans. What's up with that?
man, listen, man. I encourage discourse. I encourage conversation, man. Review my shit. Give me a 0 out of 10. I don't care. Do it. Because there's gonna be mad people that think you're crazy. Just the same way, if you gave me a 10 out of 10, mad people gonna be like, you're crazy. That's
Mhm.
a conversation. Let's talk about music, man. That's what keeps it alive. Actually, that's what keeps it alive more than any marketing. That's not what this is about. Not like us wasn't as big as it was without the discourse, without the conversation. Do that. I'm with it all. I know what I meant. I know what I said. And if it goes too far, I know when to have a conversation about it. And then you still probably won't believe me, or you may not even listen to the conversation that I had. I don't know. I can't control that. That's
Does
why I
that
say
change your writing at
no,
all? At all?
nah.
To where you're like, niggas
Certain
not
things,
gonna
yes.
understand. You're gonna take this the wrong way.
Certain things that are highly offensive to maybe people that I'm not trying to offend on
Mm,
purpose. Maybe yes, I have to have the fact, because if that's the case, just let me leave it on my hard drive. Then the
yeah.
moment you put music out, it's not your music no more. That's the reality of it. It belongs to the world. for them to comment and make it whatever they want to make it. And then you could play the game of battling with that and trying to convince people otherwise, or you could just let it be, pick your poison. That's why if it's a conversation I'm not really trying to have because that's not what I meant, and I see I could change the line and not destroy the integrity of the art, I'm with it. You
Yeah.
know, I had a song before where I said something and it was like I was joking, but it wasn't like it could be perceived a certain way. I literally changed one word. I changed the word kill to tell. And me changing the word kid to kill to tell did the same exact thing, but then it
Mhm.
was a little bit funny and it was more innocent
Right.
because you thought I was probably gonna say kill.
Right.
And that right there is the shit that's our responsibility if we want, whether we want to take it or not. It's the responsibility of the artist, it's the responsibility of the producer, the engineer, the managers, the people that's around you. Somebody got to say something sometimes. And then the beauty of what we do, we don't have to listen.
We
But at least if a nigga told me, at least you told me.
at
Bet.
least you planted the seed. Whether or not I want to adhere to that, that's a creative decision. But the beautiful thing about art, and I've always had this, IDK, is that even when it's offensive, even when it's blind, even when it's you know, insensitive, it's still art and it's still reflective of a certain state of mind that somebody might have been in. Maybe they just in a place where they just like, my shit's so fucked up in my personal life, I don't care who I offend. That's art. It's supposed to be a reflection of what's going on. Now, with that, how that changes your trajectory, you got to deal with the consequences the same way you got to deal with the consequences of any art that you drop.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And again, this is where I draw the line. I draw the line of washing your hands of any responsibility. The
Mm-hmm.
moment you decide to put it out there and make money off of it,
That part.
that's just being an adult. Like, and listen, man, I don't know what my future holds. I may make mistakes. I may not see every single thing, and I gotta hold myself to a certain like level of accountability, regardless of the fact. But I'm gonna tell you one thing though. I know that there's a decision that needs to be made at the moment of releasing things versus keeping it to yourself and playing it
Mm.
for your friends. And if you don't want to accept that responsibility, but you want to accept all the perks that comes with it, this ain't for you. That ain't
Yeah.
for you, man. That ain't for the people that's around you. That's the managers and the labels that's making that money off of you and that percentage. It ain't for y'all, man. Like this is the moment. This we could say underground this, underground that. The moment it goes out to the world, it ain't
Mm-hmm.
underground. That's underground is for back in the day when it was hard to widely distribute things to the world. You had to sell the shit out your trunk and da 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 da. And record. You got to go to the record store yourself and convince them to buy your records and put them on the shelves. That is underground.
Mm-hmm.
This world, you put it out, it is commercial. It's a commercial
It's
release,
commercial release because you compete in the same stores. So I understand your point, man.
right? What it is.
Uh, man, this phenomenal conversation. I got one last question for you, IDK, and I love asking this question to folks who have who are confident in their independence. Imagine you wake up tomorrow and everything is gone, no catalog, no audience, no momentum. You still have your skills, your experience, your reputation, a phone, a laptop, and the internet, and $500. If you had to rebuild from zero today, what are the first moves you would make and why?
That's all I have is a phone, laptop, internet. Um, so I can't. I don't have a studio, right?
No, not right now.
Okay. I mean, this happened to me before when I got out of prison. Like
That's
literally,
why
this
I
was
asked the question.
actually
Yeah.
like I went to the studio, man. I would try to see who would let me get some free studio time if I can. If not, whatever I can get out of that 500, I would figure out who I would hit you up for some beats and see if you could just, give me a couple, you know what I'm saying? A couple joints, you know what I mean? Let me just get on my feet with a couple joints, man. And, I share the profits with you, whatever. And then I will rap and I'll make the best songs that I can. I'll write everything before I go to the studio though. I won't
Hmm.
do what I do now. I don't write like I'll be freestyling, but I will
Right.
write everything, like make sure the best that I could put forward. I put it out. I put it on the internet. I put it on YouTube. I cheese it as a snippet, like to see what people like. I do mad like shit like that, and then see if people kind of gravitate to these songs. I'll try to record as many as I can, and then which one I think people would gravitate to, I'll put it out commercially, and and then see what happens, man. That's probably what I would do. The studio, man. All else fails, the studio will save your life, bro. Get in
Yeah.
that studio, bro. When everything ain't working out for you and you still trying to figure it out and you feel like no one's paying attention, get back in that studio. It'll always do you right, man. Always. It'll get you out of any situation you ever could face in music. There's a lot of people who have done some very questionable or even wrong things and were able to figure it out because the music was moving the way it was moving. So people
Right.
wouldn't pay attention. Now that's a bad example of how to use that power of creativity. But I'm just letting you know how crazy things could be and how music helps you get through all that. So that's
Yeah.
what I would do, definitely.
Love that answer, man. Round of applause one more time for IDK. It's a reminder of something that you hear as LeBron's favorite quote. He says, keep the main thing the main thing. And I think that that's something that you have mastered no matter what step of the way. As somebody that had an opportunity to see the very, very early years of this, especially your first run in LA, supremely proud to see you continue to build and continue to thrive. And I can only imagine the best is yet to come. Anything else you want to tell these people before we go ahead and get up out of here?
Man, I love y'all. Thank you for even just watching this, man. Thank you for supporting both myself and Curtis. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep it going. Let's keep this conversation going. Feel free to give me 0s out of 10s. Feel free to give me 10s out of 10s and anything in between. I appreciate it all. That's it.
Man, there it is. Ladies and gentlemen, DIYers, if you enjoyed today's conversation, make sure that you leave a comment, subscribe, or share it. Tell me in the comments below, what was a gem that you got from IDK that really resonated with you personally? There are no wrong answers. Leave it down below. IDK, thank you so much again for your time, brother.
Man, appreciate you.
DIY.
Tear in your eye.